Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And today we have got a very interesting review for you. We are going to taste and review Noah's Mill from Willet Distillery. Alright guys, so Noah's Mill is the bigger brother to Rowan's Creek, which I have actually already reviewed on the channel, so I'll put a link up there for you guys, and you can go and check that out if you like. So this here being the bigger brother, it is bottled at 57.15% alcohol or 114.3 proof. So this is the barrel proof version of Rowan's Creek coming from Willet Distillery. And what's cool about this is that Willet is actually making this bourbon. So it does have, if you've watched my review on Rowan's Creek, it's got that kind of signature Willet funk to it. So I happen to really enjoy that flavor profile, but I definitely think it's something that is, you're probably either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it type of thing. So let's get into the bourbon here. So also just quickly on the price point before we get into the bourbon here, this is not available here in Canada, but in the States it runs about $60 to $65 US. So that's kind of the price point you're looking at, and that translates to about $100 or so Canadian. All right, so on the front here, it is a very much it kind of looks like a lot like a vintage like 70s wine bottle, and I'll show you guys some more of that in the close-ups and the B-roll. All right, nice. So let's get into a quick look at the color in the glass here, guys. So we're looking at just like right center of the road there, kind of a medium kind of amber, nudging towards kind of a mahogany kind of color in the glass there. It's definitely certainly a very inviting looking dram. Let's go in for a nose here, guys. On the nose. Cheers. Okay, so first thing I got on the palate is that kind of dusty, funky Willet note. So it's like a leather-bound book or an old book in a library. Definitely that kind of funkiness to it, which I really enjoy. For me, it kind of reminds me of like a vintage bourbon, so definitely really like finding that note. And then also in there, in the nose here, there's like a sweet kind of aniseed note, like almost like a sweet licorice note, which I think would probably be coming from the rye component. I know I've had the regular 4-year Willet Estate rye, and that was quite like spearminty and kind of had like definitely more of a licoricey, minty type herbal quality to it. So I think that is coming from the rye and the mash bill here. Oh, then there's some nice kind of sweet cherry in the background. Sweet cherry, vanilla. Again, that you got that funkiness in spades. It's really even more present than it was in the Rowan's Creek. Nice kind of sweet leathery tobacco note. That sweet black licorice, cherry, vanilla. Definitely a complex nose, but a very different kind of profile to the nose here. Let's go in for a taste on the palate. Cheers. Wow, I love this bourbon. I'll just be straight up front with you guys. I love this very unique Willet flavor profile. It's definitely something that's like right up my alley. The very first thing I got was that really rich, sweet, funky, kind of dusty, old leather-bound book note. Really inviting though. That also has like this really interesting, unique kind of sweet wood component. It's almost like the wood's gone too sweet, almost like a fermented type quality to it. Almost like the sweet black licorice note. It's almost like licorice root if you've ever gone and kind of like dug out or cut out like a licorice fern on a hike or anything like that and chewed on that. Definitely has that essence to it. Herbal quality. There is kind of this old school, like really old school, like Prohibition era medicinal type feel to this bourbon. It does have a nice mouth coating presence as well. wow, it's just, I really, really enjoy this. Yeah, so the finish is kind of only really medium. It's not medium long because it does fall off a cliff a little bit. What you're left with is kind of this really nice sweet oak note, super pleasant finish, and then there's also like a ton of cinnamon on the sweet cinnamon, like almost like a cinnamon red heart on the finish of the palate here. All right, let's go in for a second sip here, guys. On the palate, second sip, cheers. Delicious. It's like this really sweet, funky, leathery, old dusty note, vanilla, sweet oak, really nice sweet cinnamon, like a cinnamon red heart, but toned down a little bit, so not as spicy and a little more sweet. Sweet vanilla, cherry, super old school bourbon, funky vibe to this. Absolutely love this stuff. If this was available on the shelf here in Canada, this would never leave my bar. It would always be a staple. It's just such a unique flavor profile. I think, however, that is what's going to be a bit divisive on this. I think you're kind of either going to love this bourbon or you're going to hate this bourbon. So I don't think there's really an in-between. So for me, it's a definite buy. But for you out there, I think this is one that's so unique and so different in profile that you should try before you buy. So if you can get a bar pour of this somewhere, I would highly recommend trying it. I think it's fantastic, but that could just be me and my palate preferences. I like something that's kind of weird and unique and a little bit out there, so this kind of fits the bill. And guys, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. And if you could please do us a quick favor, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let us know what you think of Noah's Mill, and if you've tried it, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. All right, guys, so that's my kind of take on Noah's Mill. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drams be fuller. Cheers.